lot going on right now, trying to fix my mic, trying to fix a lot of things. So give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Welcome, 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 everybody. It's the 80th sessions. It's your boy Al.
Ow.
You know, anytime. Let me hit the button around there. I'm sorry. I'm already prepared. I'm prepared. So I got some things to work on. Let me do a little something with my magic with the music. But how is everyone feeling today? Let me pull up a beat to play in the background for y'all. Perhaps something I made recently. I kind of like this one too, but yeah, I have a cool one that I haven't. I have to actually track out, but um, I'll play this one in the background. All right, what's up, y'all? Keep this smooth little beat right there in the background. All right, so now what I'm gonna try to do is fix this camera a little bit, cause I kid you, nah, I'm a little annoyed with the way this all came out. So what I really want to do is this, yeah. And I guess I could block out some of this. I wish it was clearer for y'all, but that's something I gotta work on. You know, I got a better background. But anyway, in the meantime, let me get this microphone working. So give me 1 second. All right, let's see if this works. Hello, 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 hello. I think this is working. I don't, I don't see why not. I believe this is it. Um, I should be able to hear me now a little better. I will work on something. There's something here that I'm not liking. It's like either I hear myself double or something. Or maybe I'm just tripping. Maybe I am just tripping. But this seems to be working. Let me just put a few more things together here so make sure my levels are right. Let me see what else am I missing. Let's see if this works. All right, all right, all right. I think this is much better. This is working. This is working. This is working. Okay, now we're good. Oof. Now we're good. We're good. We're good. We're back. We're back. All right, I have to maybe add the fade a bit more. Let me check this out real quick. All right, good. Just checking the fade. I thought it was too quickly. Anyway, we're back. Welcome. This is the 80th sessions again. It's your boy Al. Just covering the weekly Monday show that we've been doing on this channel for the 80th for the last few years. So welcome everybody if you're tuning in. Hit that like if you're passing through. Just say what's up. Stick a view. Thank you if you're here. Thank you if you're playing this back. This video, and what we normally do is we have conversations to start off the show, really cover the news, what's going on in the week, with a particular focus on, I think, manhood and masculinity and mental health, I would say. And towards the end, we get creative. And so typically, I just try to cook up a beat. And that's how it's been going over the last few weeks on the show. And we're going to keep it going. And yeah, we'll go from there, man. So just music and conversations. This is what it's all about. So, at the top of the show, we're constantly asking folks how they're feeling to check in. And when we say feeling, we encourage always a feeling. So, I've been slacking because I have a feeling wheel somewhere. I'm not sure that I could pull it up as quick as possible, but I will try for the folks out there who may need it. As for me, how am I feeling today? I will say tired. I am also, how can I say this? Um, it's like mentally tired, at the same time. I did have a fun weekend. So I'm also excited, grateful. Um, but gotta admit, I'm tired. I'm tired. And especially mentally exhausted, I think the most is it's been the theme, man. It's been a theme of the last few months, I think years, and for a lot of folks where things are just um, happening. They're happening fast, and it's experiences and things in our lives that are stressing us, and we're just surviving. I think I'm at that place right now where I feel that. And with that being said, I also know it's important to slow down. So it is something that I am trying to keep in mind. It is something that I want to reflect on daily, and also write things down. That's the most important thing. Write things down, put it in a note. Um, and so that's where I'm at. Because, man, these days, there are some things that are stressing me. I can't front. And it's stuff that it's beyond my control to some degree. Not to some, it is. And I'm sure there are out there who experience the same or something similar, where you are also stressing about certain things that are not within your control. And just how challenging that is to try to overcome, especially when you feel alone. Um, but with that being said, you are not alone. As I'm sharing with you all today, I feel that way. So let's keep pushing on. So, and shout out to my friends and folks and my loved ones who constantly keep an eye out on me, who do reach out to me. I love all of you. I appreciate every one of you, those who reach out. Even though I may not seem like not may, even though I know I don't reach out as consistently, and I'm a bad, terrible texter. I do recognize when those who are reaching out and who keeping up with me. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you. So, with that being said, the theme of tonight, let's see, it was provider. So that was the conversation, and I want to say shout out to Rob who joins on the show, because he shared a video with me, which I'm going to talk about today for our first segment of our main discussion of the 80th show. Before we get to the music making part, there is this conversation that gets often brought up, about men being the provider and how important that role is to provide for our families, for and when we say when family being whether that be of your own or your parents, your siblings, just be a provider of a home. And typically that means in this world financially. And so typically a lot of young men are still being expected to and grown up in a world that says that reinforces this idea that in masculinity, like you have to be some sort of provider and you have to that is your role. And again, that is only focused on provider in terms of money, right? And some will also say protection, so ensuring that you are able to keep your family safe, so you are willing to do whatever it takes in that regard. And look, I know for me that is something that I continue to question within myself and where I am. And I say for me, first, like thinking of being this provider, it's challenging because I can't front and say I don't or I haven't still stressed about where I am currently am and how much I'm not able to I was going to say provide, how much money I can't give my family so that their issues are solved. And not just my family, but those around me. And I'm sure there are some folks in my life who would say that I do enough, you know, because I have been in situations where I've done that, which is just gave money to family members in time of need and just to, provide. And I don't think it does, does, right. What I'm struggling with right now is trying to make sense of this idea of that I know is bullshit, right? That being a man means being a provider and how it's currently still affecting me. And so I'm struggling with it because I'm trying, I guess, well, now that I put it that way, where I land today, I guess I would say that I still like that idea or th- of me being some sort of provider does not, I don't think it defines me. I'm not, and I also don't think I stress over the fact that I'm not fitting that role of provider for my family now. Has it stressed me out? Has it hit my confidence? I do say at the same time, yes. The fact that I am not in where I believe, or like where I'm not giving enough money to my family, that that has hit my confidence. Let's just say, and it's okay because I know that I'm not the only one, and I know that I'm not the only man that likely stresses over that and wonders or yeah, like wonders a lot about like well, not wonders, rather worry about fitting that role perfectly and whether they can or cannot. And I know a lot of men that go above and beyond to get money and enough money so that they can give it to their families, and so they are okay. They have a roof over their head. They can buy the sneakers and the things that they want and the food to eat. So it's tough. And so I'm gonna jump into this conversation with like a video that like Rob put me on, and it's from Kirk Franklin. He recently did a I don't know what to call it. I guess a podcast episode. Is it a podcast
Like
episode?
even was
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, it was 3 days ago. I guess it's an episode of a show that he has called Den of Kings, where Kirk Franklin. Let me put the browser up. I think it should be okay. That's it right there. All right. Oh, my face is just covered in a bad way. Let's go here. Oops, sorry. There I go. Okay. So this is giving a shout out to Kirk Franklin. So it's a long conversation where I guess I could just play right. It's a trailer, right? I'll play the trailer because I think it sort of gives you a sense of what it's about. But here's the trailer to this episode on mental, well, mental wealth, which it would, like, I guess, is a play on mental health, which is pretty cool, interesting. And so the episode I'm just gonna read here. The Den of King returns with a powerful new episode on mental wealth, released on World Mental Health Day. Kirk Franklin sits with Annalie the Great, Dr. J. Barnett, Kev on Stage, Ray J, and Jonathan Majors for an unfiltered conversation about grief, healing, protecting peace, and the battles Black men face in silence. From childhood wounds and loss to navigating fame, fatherhood, and faith, this episode is raw, real, and deeply needed. So the topics covered says why men struggle to talk about mental health and happiness, vulnerability, prayer, and learning to listen to your inner voice, suicide, self-harm, and stories of survival, coping with grief, loss of loved ones, and family burdens, family therapy, and the tension between church teachings and healing, the pressures of fame, social media, and public scrutiny, masculinity, affection, and the missing power of brotherhood among Black men, how gratitude, service, and connection can rebuild peace. Okay, I will say those topics I've went through this episode, and those topics are certainly covered. Kind of hits all of that. But let me play the I believe it's a trailer, right? Something like that. Oh, let me just play a little bit of it. Sorry, let me play it from the back.
The conversation that as Black men that we're now having across the country is how do we protect and save the health of our minds?
The worst place a man can be left is left alone with his thoughts.
Yes, sir.
My mental fitness, my physical fitness, my spiritual fitness, these things I cherish.
Black men I've been around, they fighting to even try to make, they used to be 18. Now it's really like 16, 15.
She never weaponized my vulnerability.
That right.
And I think, I'm not even a tough street dude or anything like that, but I also never wanted to appear weak in front of my wife.
I find myself most happy is with my kids though.
Yo, yo!
Shout out to that. Shout out to that. Hey, right? Not bad, not bad. Not bad, not bad. So the episode keeps going and they have a long conversation here. And so I found it very interesting just the way that the men were connecting on here. Now, I will say from a mental health perspective, from what from what I see here, it's pretty interesting to watch th- these men who I know are really popular and have a lot of influence, I would say. Kirk Franklin, especially. I mean, you're looking right there. He has 2.1 million subscribers, and all these men are also well known in their own right. Excuse me. I also thought it was an interesting collection of men to have at the time. So when Rob sent this to me, I was still like, wow, this is an interesting collection of men. And anyway, it it was cool. Look, I will say that I'm fascinated by this new trend and wave. I would say, let me put this to the side. No need this here. This not trend, but well, yeah, it is a trend because I do think that these folks, these famous folks, who've been in Hollywood, because these men have been in Hollywood now for a while, with the exception of Kev on stage. I will say, well, a couple words on him in a second, but it's interesting to see that on this kind of level, talk about like have a space where they're talking about vulnerability, mental health, and they do get into some interesting conversation. A lot of it is faith based. Kirk Franklin, obviously, if you know who he is, then you would know that should be an obvious one as to why it was faith based. And so there's a lot of conversations that are woven into like the thoughts on God and your role and the Bible. They're talking like Christianity. And so I either way, aside from the religion part of the conversation, I do think it is a step for me to see that kind of content out there. Shout out to Rob. Shout out to Rob. Rob in the building.
Thank you, Miss.
Oh,
Thank you,
so
Mr. Higgins.
he's in here. So, I do, even though it was faith based for the most part, I do think it was it is good to see that kind of representation of men, in the media, just kind of like showing each other love. They're talking, they're getting along, and then again, it's just good to see it, especially again like black men. And maybe this doesn't resonate with the youth of today, because I do think the only one there that would resonate with the youth is NLE, which because I think he said he's 22 years old, so he is the one that I would say which is again it speaks to like the fascinating like cast of people that got brought together to have this conversation and the questions and the things that we're talking about. But it was cool because again it's a range of generations there at this table, and I thought, and again to me it's like this is not common from what I grew up with, so I, it's good to see this kind of conversation happening. And I will say most of this episode, oh look, speaking of the religion, they even uh they even say a prayer before having the food. Ray J was killing me this whole time. Aside from this, I thought he was being like a clown. His facial expression and some of the shots were killing me. I was like, man, what's going on with this man? This guy's taking this as a joke, or he can't handle the conversation. But I guess that was just him being him. So again, I thought it was interesting that these guys were having a conversation. They had but it's good to pay attention to some of the things. Well, here's some of the things that stood out to me about their conversation. One, so there's a segment where they talk about what really makes you happy. And interestingly enough, I think some of the men on this table gave a response that I think is common about what we think about men and our identity. So some of them couldn't really say it outright what it is. So most of them tied it to someone or their kids. So a lot of them talked about their kids bringing them happiness. They talked to yeah, and or their wives. So it was like my kids and my wife. So everything kind of went back to that. That's one thing that stood out to me in this conversation. There was a lot of moments where some of them kept bringing that back to them, other people. So it still did not answer this question because that's already, I think, something that men are socialized to believe, right? I mean, that eventually, again, we're gonna grow up, we're gonna become the protectors of our families, the providers, and that all we do is for our families. Therefore, our family is an extension of us, and they should make us happy. Everything for our families. That still doesn't speak to what makes us as an individual happy, which we all deserve to focus on, which we all deserve and have a right to think about, cherish, nourish. So, what makes us happy as an individual? So, I thought that stood out to me a little bit about some of their responses. But again, it was interesting conversations that kept going. They talked about self harm, which I thought was fascinating. Like Jay Barnett, I wasn't familiar with his story. Former football player who had a terrific injury that cut his career short and went into to becoming a therapist. Oh, sorry, what disconnected? Oh no, did my camera disconnect? Okay, hopefully not. And so that was cool. Uh, Rob, you hope that You hope the youth don't follow Ray J. Oh man, he's trying to get into the. Listen, they're all gonna try to get into the streaming world. Ray J hasn't been doing his thing. Um, and there was a lot of vulnerability, Rob. I will say that you saying that you think that he just couldn't handle the vulnerability of the table. That definitely came across. Um, that definitely came across because they were being pretty vulnerable as far as what they hit. I thought some of the cuts and the edits didn't do the excuse me. I don't know that it did the conversation justice because it was a very edited conversation. You can kind of tell you pay, and I've been part of some productions, man. I remember I did something for BET once, and I haven't done too many, but the few that I've done, and the BET one that I'm recalling, it was a conversation on domestic violence. And I remember being brought in because at the time I was doing work in domestic violence and intimate partner violence and just giving my thoughts and on the issue. And we had this long conversation that was recorded. And then when I saw the final product, so much of it got cut out. I was so excited to see myself, and I only was like, out of everything I said, they only showed like one shot of me. I was like, oh man, like I said like one sentence. I was like, oh. But anyway, so this I could tell that there was a lot of cuts in the conversation and things didn't go on. I did find it interesting that and there was NLE, there was a large focus on him. And it makes sense. Again, he's the youngest of the men there, and he was brought in perhaps to speak to younger men. His perspective was interesting though, because when it comes to even being a provider, right? And this conversation, because eventually they do get to that. They do get to having this discussion on how like the pressures of being a provider kind of affects their mental health. So they do tackle in this episode that idea, right? So I was giving my thoughts on it at the beginning of this. So getting to this video, at some point they do, all of them to some degree, this described what they're feeling and and what they're feeling when it comes to how much of how, how well of of a provider they are or they can be. But either way, I thought that was fascinating, right? That they all brought that and really spoke to how that affected their mental health. So where I do believe the conversation fell short is that they did not attribute it to where they should have attributed their attention to, which is that there's a reason for that. There's a reason why society is pinning this and pinning men to potentially play this role, and then telling women that their role is somewhere else to keep us, divided, and to keep us living in this bubble and limiting our ideas to what gender means, so that we continue to subscribe to one idea of how to be as people, and then we can be controlled. So, you know, these guys were talking about the stress, but they also at the same time talked about how much they loved being in that role and how much being in that role was part of their identity. Even NLE at his young age, because he also talked about seeing success at like what, 17 years old. He's had success. And I thought that was fascinating, how much, because he said he had a lot of experience, and I do believe him because I'm sure making that amount of money and traveling the world, you do get different experiences and you do get to see different things, which then adds to his wisdom. And I wouldn't put it past, a 22-year-old having a lot of wisdom, because in our lifetime we've seen 22-year-olds in this country who've had a lot of wisdom, you know. So, and I'm going to show you who that is right now. In case you didn't know or weren't familiar with a 22-year-old that is mature and wise beyond his years. Okay. Go check that out. Check out who Fred Hampton was, please. Do yourself a favor. NLE is not Fred Hampton though. I do want to say that, and which is why I found it fascinating that he was given so much airtime because NLE was just he he ended up subscribing to this traditional idea about what it means to be a masculine man, right? He was talking about being a provider, talking about being tough, talking about how he enjoys crying and crying is a good thing because then he also said some interesting things about like having to go into your feminine side, but I wasn't really sure about where his ideas were going about it as well. But yeah, Annalie was not thinking that far off to the way the older men in that table were thinking. So they were all kind of saying the same thing. So that conversation they had, while it was dope, it left me wanting a little bit of more, just because I think it was obviously it had to be manufactured, even though they shared a lot of personal things. I mean, Kev on stage shared something really personal on there, and which I'm sure must have been hard for him to do. Uh, but that's I don't know. The conversation just kind of fell short. I do think there was a part that was interesting for me about Kirk Franklin also being honest about being affectionate and the affection that men don't give each other. I thought that was interesting. So he asked some question here. Let me see if I find the clip actually. I think it's around here.
That do you feel, Doc, that we lack of sometimes for you guys, man, is that do you think, like even what's happening right now, do you guys think that there is another medicine out there, Jonathan, that we're not even realizing that can also be part of the healing for us as black men? And it is the lack of sometimes affection that we feel that we have not been prepared to give each other as black men. Like, I'm gonna tell you something, and I said this earlier, NLE, I'm not ashamed to say, man, that I would love to have known what it feels like to have a father hold me, or have a brother hold me and embrace me when I'm weeping tears. And I think that there's something therapeutic about that, but because the culture has always put us against each other, that do you feel, Doc, that we're missing these opportunities to even help heal each other by embracing each other in our darkest moments, to just let each other know, I see you, I got you, and we're gonna be all right. Like, do you think that there's something we're missing in this alpha male, this toxic masculinity that we're dealing with more than ever in our culture?
We're missing.
Yeah, I'm muted there. Uh, Again, you go check that. I just thought it was interesting that that was another part that stood out to me. I was glad to hear Kirk say that. It reminded me of a time I sat at a table. I got brought in for a major platform and organization that was doing a lot to challenge our traditional and toxic ideas of masculinity, and and did a lot of work with young men to talk about gender-based violence, sexual harassment, sexual assault, talk about intimate partner violence. So I remember I got brought to the table to do a it was like to discuss a new project that they had and launched. And so they brought a lot of stakeholders and thought partners that they had to this table. I met a lot of men from different agencies. So I remember being like one of the youngest in the room. I was probably like 27. Most of the men in the room were already like in their mid 30s and older. The next person was probably like 4 years. I was like one of the youngest in the room. Anyway, you're having a conversation and this idea gets brought up about like what we can do. And so this is around 2017, maybe 2016, 2017. This conversation happened. And I remember, the things that Kirk brought up right there. I remember bringing that up at that table. The question was asked about like what can be done to like improve the relationship in terms of like men and get men out of this um get men out of this idea that we have to be tough and rugged, especially with each other, that we can't be affectionate with each other. right? Like that we can't show each other love. Why does it have to be constant competition? And then what I remember saying was that I think it would be cool if there's much more public self-expression expression from men around that love that they have for each other, right? Like, I don't, and I was referring to the fact that I don't see a lot of men telling each other that they love each other, or that, or just not complimenting each other enough in a public way. It's very subtle, it's very, right, or very coded most of the time still, but it's not very public, and it's not often that you see men kind of show each other that affection. And I was saying that that is what's missing, because I do believe that that's something that is supportive and helpful to us, and we want that not just from women, we want that from each other, right? And I do recall some men should nodding their head like, yo, you kind of right. And there was some men that kind of looked at me like, bro, what are you talking about? Someone even challenged that idea and said, well, actually, I don't know that that's necessarily like something that's lacking or something that we need to do. Right, sir, which is funny enough. I hope, listen, and no disrespect to that brother who's on that table, man. I'm pretty sure they're doing work, but I hope that if we do sit at this conversation and well, if we do sit and do meet again and we can have this conversation again, that we can reflect on what I said back then and what it ended up being. Because what ended up happening is I do believe more men started publicly saying, like, showing this affection to each other, like saying, I love you, or I love my, even if it's I love my dogs, or I love my bro, or that's my brother, I love him. Yo, I love him to death. Or even in New York City again, the slang, my heart. Like, these are things they say, men are saying to each other, other men, or just showing each other affection. I mean, I even see the way that some of the young men, and maybe they don't look at it this way, so I hope I don't get attacked for this, but when I think about like the way some of the young men, even in New York City now, they kind of like get together and hang out in groups, especially when you throw on a drill song and they dancing in their groups, man, them boys is like, they hold each other up. They like dancing with each other. It's very coordinated. The handshakes are coordinated. To me, that's a lot of affection. It's in their own way, but it's there. And so I've always thought that it was needed. I've always thought that that was needed. So Kirk Franklin asked that question. I was glad to see that he at least put it out there, and even shared his perspective on it, and admitting that he's wanted that. And also at some other part he also talks about his like his relationship with his own father and whatnot, and how that affected him. So I always appreciate seeing examples of that, because again, I do think we need more of that. We need more men coming out having these discussions. And I will say, these kind of conversations, though, the Kirk Franklin one, left me wanting more. I do have to say, because it's just it was like they were scratching the surface with these kind of conversations, that I really want them to have. And not to toot our own horn, but I would say here at the 80th, where we had these live streams, we've definitely sh- crossed these kind of conversations and these topics that Kirk Franklin and them talked about, and we've kept it, as honest as we can. And I'm gonna show you actually a trailer, since we've gotten to watch, we've gotten to watch the trailer for that Kirk Franklin podcast, which is actually out. I want to give a shout out to another film, which talks about a group of men meeting, and having conversations, right, and who are trying to tackle and disrupt all these negative ideas and cycles that says that men have to be one way in our society, and that and well, not just one way, that men in particular have to be like the dominant, the providers, the controlling one, the one in charge. So I do want to play uh, this trailer to this film, right? Because it's a film done by Byron Scott, and Byron Scott, I met the man. The man is dope, man. Director, filmmaker, pretty dope. I'm sorry, Byron Scott. Whoa, excuse me. I am so sorry. He'll kill me. It's Byron Hurt. My bad. My bad. bugging out. And I'm trying to do a lot here. I'm trying to like produce. Anyway, Byron Hurt, who's made hip hop beyond beats and rhyme, which is a classic documentary and one of my favorites. I watch it over and over from time to time. I think it's timeless. I think it still rings true. Let's and now he's dropping another film. I will say this film he's dropping, Men of Courage. This film he's dropping is on a group of men, right? So I'm gonna read the descriptions down here, right? Um is it here? Let me see. I'm gonna go to the website. Sorry. So trying to there it goes, right here. The film. So Men of Courage takes the viewer on a journey inside the Garden State of New Jersey for a fly on the wall experience as five Black and Latino men engage in compelling conversations with other boys and men about the role they play in ending violence against women. Carter, who witnessed his stepdad abuse his favorite sister, has weekly discussions with Black fathers in the back of a soul food restaurant called the Smokehouse in Trenton. Pastor Pablo, who witnessed his dad, a former boxer, abuse his mom, meets regularly with teenage boys and young men at a local fitness gym to discuss anger management and violence against girls and women. Michael, sexually molested by an adult male church member as a boy, faces the daunting task of engaging male spiritual leaders in Atlantic City about sexism in the church. Gabe, who watched his dad assault his stepmother as a boy, is now a Patterson track coach who gives male athletes tools to prevent physical and sexual violence. And Tim is a city councilman in Salem who uses his soul experience as a perpetrator of domestic violence to warn youth football players to avoid following in his footsteps. Let's watch the trailer for that one. Much different, right? Give me a second. The boy needs some water. Whew. Anyway, give me a second. That was a lot, but that's so Byron Hurt did it again, and now showing you a film that now will talk about a different type of group. These are the type of what you'll see in this trailer. These are the type of conversations that men are trying to have, and I think, in my opinion, I hate the shoulds, but I will say should really start to have and be having, right? These are the type of groups. Like it was cool, it was cute what Kirk Franklin tried to do, but that's like if you're talking about the conversations that Black men really and Latino men should be having and transformative type of stuff that I've had the privilege of being a part of here in New York City is this.
I remember watching him through the crack in my door, snatch my sister from her ankle and hold her upside down and just start to beat her with a belt. So I didn't want to be that type of man. There's still people that are perpetrators within the congregations that could hide in plain sight.
You have a lot of men that walk around with trauma that is manifesting itself in many different ways.
But I think it's learned behavior, because they don't even realize that it's wrong.
And one of those ways is violence against our intimate female partners.
I love my dad. I always saw him as a hero, but I love my mom too. And he would beat her. Well, how do you deal with anger?
My father's a big dude. I just remember a lot of tussling, a lot of fighting, but just the visuals, the loudness, the broken glass.
We are seeking to engage men who want to be a part of the movement to end gender-based violence.
Men know this stuff is going on. It takes a certain type of individual to step up and say, hey, this is not right.
I am the future.
If we don't stand up against gender-based violence, that means that we're for it.
That's it. That's it. Look at that. See? Now you see that these are the type of conversations. You know, now we're talking as far as conversations of what needs to be happening, okay? Because that right there, and I've been part of those groups, y'all. That I've seen the vulnerability when you see that film is coming out in October. Check out Byron Hurt. Look it up. Men of Courage is set to release. They're having a release real soon. Actually, it was in my email. Or I think they already showed it. Oh, it's on the 21st. They're gonna do a virtual screening premiere. I'm gonna see if I could put the link right here in the chat. Let me see. Can I? Yes, I can. Right there. You can kind of reserve tickets right there. Um, if you want. I know I'm gonna try to catch it. That's my brother's birthday, but I'm gonna try to catch it anyway because I think it's gonna be. I mean, I think it's a 40-minute, an hour runtime, so not even like a long documentary. But I'd figure it'd be worth a watch, especially as somebody who's participated in groups where I've talked to men about the violence that they experienced and talked to men about the pressures they felt about what it means to be the provider and how that has affected their mental health, if that's affected their way of thinking, how that has not helped them develop in a healthy way. And so yeah, I commend that film and hope folks will check it out. Again, I know I will. And so yeah, as far as going back on the provider, what it means to be this provider thing. I mean, look, there's different ways of being a provider, I think, and even for men, because I will have to say, like, if for men, if we want to have a way of looking at being a provider, and if we still believe that is important for us, is important for you to be a provider, that is part of your identity. I would say to just expand that definition of what it means to be a provider and don't just make it about um finance, right? Don't make it about it's something that's just financial and how much money you have or how much money you can give to your family. I also think it should come in the form of how much labor you can put in, how much domestic labor you could put in, right? So just cleaning, right? How much can just wash the dishes? How much can you do the laundry, or at least fold the laundry, or put away the laundry, right? Just helping out in the household. Things that you can do for your family other than just giving money and more than just showing up when like you need to use your physical body. Don't just show up to lift up a box, right? That's not enough. I think to be a provider also means going with, you know, going with your parents somewhere, even though you don't feel like going or it's inconvenient, but going with them just because they maybe need you, right? It's going someplace because someone else needs you or might need that extra company. It's thinking beyond yourself in certain moments and showing up for other people. That's a way that you can be a provider. It doesn't just have to be financially. And you can still be a man in that way. I'm sure people will remember you for it. And so, with that being said, that wraps it up for, I think, our conversation. Excuse me. I will jump into a little bit, make some beats, man. Make some beats. I gotta make sure I set this up, but let's take a little transition now. Where's my beat at? Playing right here. I'll put a better video, man. That video is looking. I got y'all. I got some nice videos I'll put up. Something that looks better than just a random car. Alright, so got a beat here. I'm almost got it, y'all. Almost got it. I'm just struggling a bit. Trying to get used to some new equipment that I got here. So this beat I got going on, I've already set it up. I just have to finish it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But I'm just trying to set up myself a success. I got another beat that go hard. It's not even it. But this beat I got going on is super fire. It's an idea that I put together, so you're gonna watch me finish it. Is it gonna go in theme with tonight's conversation? Maybe. Depending on what you think, but maybe not. I don't think so. I don't think you're gonna get the same kind of like, you know. But you are gonna like it though, because it's pretty smooth beat. Not like this one, so I'm gonna have to turn this one off. Just cut that off real quick. You're gonna like this one though. This one's a good one. This one's a good one. So how I put this one together is I use a method called splice stacks. Okay. So I basically grab a bunch of stuff and ideas and loops and sounds that sound great. I put them together. And then once I do that, as you can see me here, I just load them up. Set everything there. Boom. Give me that. Let me separate this. Okay. Let me just name this vocals just so I can have and then there you go. That's most of the beat right there. That's pretty fire. I'm gonna start setting it up right now so you can hear. Let's play some of what I already got going on for y'all. This is pretty dope. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. What was that? Yeah, sorry, I can't lower that. Let's not do that again. All right, check this out. Is it logged? Oh, there you go. Oh, that's the main loop that I wanted. Oh, you gotta hear this. That was so cool. Check this out. But I really want the bass line in this. But I'm gonna have to cut it and then come up with my own. You know what I'm saying? Just cause. But the bass line really makes it though, let me tell y'all. but this shit, listen, I was jacking this hard. Oh my God. Told you. I don't think anyone was expecting that. I don't think no one was expecting that right there. Yo. I'm trying to see how well I gotta duck this. Yo. Whoa. Checking my voice here, that's all. Alright, let me try to set this up the right way because I already got the intro. So what I would try to do here is do my own beat to it, bass line to it, now that I got the piano in front of me. So I'll do an intro. I guess we could do verse. Then that'll be 8/16. Damn, the hook is coming over here. So I could do probably like a little bridge right here. 4-bar bridge? No, that don't make no sense. Let me delete that. Hook, and then if I want to do another verse, but let's call this outro because I don't really want to make a long beat. I don't need to. I just need to make a preview. So then I will have to do this, okay, and then start cutting things, okay. So the first thing that's gonna go is I'll keep this. Okay, so that stays. That goes. You know, I was thinking maybe do like this. Give it a little fade. That's a long ass intro, dogs. No. I got a dilemma, guys. Because if I do it, that's a long intro. That's 16 bars. I need that long of an intro. Wait. It could maybe cut it like this. Okay, I'll do this. I'll probably cut some of this. I'm looking up this shit. This needs to be a little bit more down, guys. You don't even need to. You don't even know. I'm looking up at the sky right now. How does that look? Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm looking up at the sky. It's killing me. How can I? Okay. Sorry. So you trying to make it right? So give this a different color. Yeah, I need to. The thing that I'm trying to do is give this a base, right? Yeah, I need a baseline now, you know what I mean? So this one, right, I'll put it to like right here. And I'll do the same thing, but just cut the high. So I'll just do this, and then this right here. Let me see. And then give it like try to move pretty fast. Definitely don't need the guitar. Definitely don't need this. And that's the bass. And then this. Alright. And I think cut this off like 4. Just trying to set up the beat a little better, you know. Don't want this to be too plain. I want it to be pretty well done. So trying to let's see. Sorry, it's just I need. Oh God, can you give me no? Oh God. Okay. Sorry, just needed this, and this. I need more drums, and I don't like that the drums cut off that early. It should be like oh snap, I got an idea. So my idea is to cut up the bass line so that the verse has like a different flavor towards the second part, you know what I mean? I don't want to give it the same flavor. It got to be something different. What was I thinking about doing? Because then the hook, it gotta be like this. Yeah, the hook gotta be like that. Or maybe this verse, no, this could be like this. Right, and then I said I was gonna do the bass line, but no need to sometimes. You just kind of. I don't need to do the bass line. forgot. Sorry. See, because what the thing is now, I want to cut this up. So check this out. Just to give it a little bit. Oh. Oh, that's crazy. That is saved like that. That is nuts. I didn't even know FL Studios did that. That's crazy. That's nuts. I'm sorry. I'm like flabbergasted right now. So you know what I'm about to do is so now I want to do like a it's like a I'm saying? Give it like a, give it more like a, you know, trying to, oh no, I'm getting a call. Hello. Hey. Actually, I'm gonna repeat the bass line. Hey, let me move this way. Right here. I want to make sure this is wow, close up right there. Hard work. Let me try to see. You know what? Let me see what Loop Cloud has. Because the thing is, I have a subscription to Loop Cloud and I don't use it, which I need to because I have a bunch of cool sounds. So let's see what they got going on for me. I could just mix in here. What? No. That's crazy. Come on, man. Give me something that I would like. Because sometimes that's the thing with them. They do have, like, weird... Like... Loop Cloud does have... maybe right here. It's, like, interesting sounds. You know what I mean? I don't know how to explain it. But let's see. Belgian whistle, but I think I'm done here. Just put some little bells and whistles in it, nothing crazy. trying to find a nice sweeper, you know, something to transition me. I need a transition, like right there. Just if I could find one, then I just need like just a good sweet. This one's 8. I gotta make this pop a little bit more here, and then this is the drums over here. Came out with man the 80th sessions. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed the discussion as well. How does this? Oh, see, I always gotta fix that. Gotta get the camera work right. Gotta get the camera work right for y'all. But this is what we came up with, man. Hopefully this beat cheers you up, and it's something that becomes more, you know, makes you feel hype, man. We need some more hypeness. Sometimes a lot that keeps us in. I feel like this beat probably make you want to dance, and that's something we probably need more of. Just dancing, movement, you know, keeping ourselves there and not being bogged down by everything. So hopefully this beat allows you to feel some of that, and you feel inspired, man, from what you're hearing, you know. I know I'm gonna jam to this for a while. You know, it's a little something I put together, but you know,